Welcome to Television Sydney News. I'm Sandra SIAGIAN. It's great to have you with us. In this week's news, torrential rain causes chaos across Western Sydney, 2 drive-by shootings in Sydney's northwest, and a heroic grandfather saves 2 lives after a Penshurst fire. But first, flash flooding has swept across Western Sydney, with Fairfield and Parramatta being among the worst hit suburbs. A soccer field in Stockdale Reserve in Abbotsbury was also hit with torrential downpour flooding the site. A ceiling also collapsed at Stockland Shopping Centre in Wetherill Park on Wednesday. The Bureau of Meteorology recorded 109 millimetres of rain in Penrith on Thursday. And the Sydney Catchment Authority said even though Warragamba Dam was at capacity on Friday morning, the floodgates might remain closed. An SES spokesman said only minor flooding was expected for the Hawkesbury River at North Richmond. Shots have been fired into 2 houses in Sydney's northwest, bringing the total number of shootings across Sydney to 11 in 1 week. Police were called to a house at Rouse Hill overnight, where they found bullet holes in the house and casings on the street. About 20 minutes later, police were called to a house at Bella Vista after several shots were fired into a house. People were in both houses at the time of the shootings, but no one was injured. The daughters of a man who died after a Penshurst unit fire at the weekend have found comfort knowing that he died trying to save his neighbours. Ray Jerome ran several times into a burning unit block to save others, but died of a heart attack at St George Hospital shortly after. The father of 2 helped people in and out of the building and helped direct firefighters. His daughter said he suffered 2 heart attacks as a result of the stress of the fire and smoke inhalation. Police are still investigating the cause of the fire. A Blue Mountains tourist operator has been ordered to pay more than $40,000 in fines and costs to the RSPCA for mistreating horses. Glenda Lane of Megalong Horse Riding Adventures and Megalong Heritage Centre was found guilty in Katoomba Local Court of failing to provide veterinary treatment and sufficient food to horses in her care. RSPCA inspectors seized 2 horses suffering extreme malnutrition from her property last August, and she surrendered another horse the next month. A group of medical educators say there are not enough doctors' practices open after hours across Western Sydney. An analysis by Went West found only 55 general practices across the region open for 10 or more hours a week during the after-hours period. A Round Corner Medical Centre at Dural spokesman says the problem is finding GPs to work outside normal hours. A Campbelltown Youth Centre is out to make sure Sydney's homeless youth aren't forgotten. The Drum Youth Resource Centre was decked in black balloons on Wednesday to celebrate Youth Homelessness Matters Day. 21-year-old KRYSTAL McMurray is a volunteer at the centre and a former client, having moved between foster care, refuges and sleeping in her car since she was 10 years old.
I didn't really have a childhood. Everything that was going on in my house and the reasons why I got kicked out, so I didn't have a childhood. And then my teenagehood was trying to do my schooling, trying to keep the roof over my house and trying to feed myself. So, all the other people my age were partying and having fun and I wasn't.
She said the main thing it had taught her was not to judge others because you didn't know what they had been through.
People assume a lot in general. If you're homeless, you got a drug or alcohol problem, or you're a crazy person or some sort of weird idea people have of we have to be homeless. Anyone can be homeless. It can affect anyone, like from any walk of life, any age, any nationality.
She said she suffered severe depression and anxiety as a result of being without a home for so long and was grateful that the Drum had supported her.
Everything to just getting out of bed was a struggle some days. Why should I get out of bed? What for? Like, it's just all day today is going to be the same as yesterday. I'm not going to get anywhere. No one's going to help me. So it was very hard to try and push myself to get the motivation to not take no for an answer.
The Drum acting coordinator, Donna Spears, said youth homelessness often wasn't visible because many youth stayed with friends rather than sleeping on the streets.
Homelessness services have this one day a year where we're raising awareness about youth homelessness, about the issues connected with youth homelessness. It's about raising community awareness and it's about keeping it on the public and the political profile.
The Drum provides advocacy, counselling, accommodation, assistance, food vouchers and other help to young people who are homeless or at risk of becoming homeless. The face of Anzac Day is changing as young veterans take their place beside veterans of conflicts past. 23-year-old Corporal Josh Pomeroy will march down the main street of Camden next Wednesday, alongside older veterans. He's a veteran of 3 theatres of conflict, starting with Iraq when he was just 19, followed by East Timor and Afghanistan last year. But Corporal Pomeroy says his war experience pales in comparison to the trauma endured by veterans of past conflicts. A thief has broken into a Caringbah widow's house and stolen her late husband's World War II medals just weeks before Anzac Day. The 91-year-old woman, who did not want to be named, says the medals were all she had left of her husband, who was a bomber with the Royal Australian Air Force. Her grandchildren wore the medals each Anzac Day. St George Cycling Club has received more than $80,000 from the government's Community Building Partnerships program to upgrade the Hurstville Oval Velodrome. Club President Phil Bates says it was a huge turnaround from last year, when the velodrome was going to close down to create an AFL track. The money will be used to repair the track, which was last resurfaced in 1988. Kevin Sheedy says his Western Sydney Giants club and the AFL need to earn the respect of Western Sydney to attract bigger crowds. Less than 7,000 spectators witnessed the first AFL Premiership game at Blacktown International Sports Park last Sunday, well down on the expected 10,000. The Western Sydney Giants remain winless, and Blacktown Council came under fire for its decision to do roadworks near the venue on match day. Sheedy says the AFL should be developing the sport in local schools. The Giants' next Sydney game is on May 26. And Rockdale Arts Festival has launched its first outdoor art exhibition at Kiama. The works of 10 talented sculptors will be on display at Cooks Park until next Sunday. St George TAFE Fine Arts teacher Jeff Harvey received $2,000 for his prize-winning sculpture, Old Sea Dogs. His former student, Adam Galea of Bexley, took out the Emerging Local Artist Award for his humorous artwork, Taking the Boat for a Walk, a piece about materialism and people's attachment to objects. That's all we have time for this week. For more information, pick up your local Fairfax community newspaper. We'll see you next time.